There have been many days one has thought कि अच्छा अब तो दुकान बंद हो ही जाएगी, अब तो कंपनी बंद हो ही जाएगी, अब तो टीम चली जाएगी.
हाँ,
बट फिर
कुछ हो जाता
गली में ऐश्वर्या आती है और फिर प्यार हो जाता है.
Fabulous. I
और
think
फिर
it's
हम गाना गाते हैं ओ ओ. I feel I've restarted my life 3 times over from absolute minus. And I've started that whole culture of gifting shares to kids, and rather than buying something for a 10 grand or a 5 grand, you're gifting shares and everything adds up. Life deals you with a certain set of cards.
correct.
Now, choosing what to play when is our choice. I love the business of storytelling. I love it. I find it magical and mesmerizing. You live through so many characters, you build so many worlds, your life expands.
And how did you first meet Sun?
On a dating app.
Really?
So apps work. I literally put my producer hat on and I said, now I'm going to produce a husband.
Hi everyone, I'm Preeti Rathi Gupta, founder of Lakshmi, India's financial platform for women, and your host for the Rich Recipes podcast, where we serve up powering conversations to help you take control of your financial journey. Today, I'm thrilled to have with us an extraordinary guest and friend, Academy Award-winning producer Guneet Monga. She has not only broken barriers in the film industry, but has also overcome personal and professional challenges with resilience and grace. Join us as we explore her inspiring story from navigating financial struggles to becoming a powerhouse woman in cinema. Guneet, welcome to the show. I have just so much admiration for you.
Thank you.
We've known each other for some time, and I've been a very small part of your really long journey. But I've seen you being so resilient and so courageous. And today, as you sit here, I can only imagine that success, it hasn't come easy. So today, if I ask you, Guneet, what does success feel like?
Thank you, Preeti, and thank you for having me over. Firstly, I don't think you've been a small part of my journey. I think you've been a significant part because you've also been somebody I look up to, calling in for perspective, calling in for introductions, for, okay, I'm stuck here. And also also so much faith that you have shown over the years, so it's incredible to have a connection like that. So I cherish our friendship a lot. So
Same here.
thank you for so many years of friendship. Success is, I think, very, very personal. And everybody, I feel like, should take a moment to define success. I've made around 40 plus films, I don't know, even 100 plus shorts, several documentaries, 10 plus docus. Over the years, all this work, I really dug deep to understand what is success. And I defined it for myself. So for me, definition of success is if I can wake up every morning inspired to continue doing what I'm doing, I'm successful.
Wow.
So I defined it with that if my inspiration is lost, then what do I do with anything else? And I'm in the business of firstly being inspired by my stories myself. And everything takes time. We are in long format. So to be inspired every day to work on that story, to nurture it in its best form, to be able to bring it out, market it. There's so millions of decisions that one has to make for the final outcome of a movie on cinema. So I just feel like if I'm inspired every day, day after day, then I'm successful. And that is what I have chased.
Wow, really well said. And I think that's so much that a lot of us can take away, because I think we do what we do with a lot of fervor and we keep thinking success is somewhere out there.
Yeah.
not realizing that when you wake up every day and say, I want to do more of this.
I had to internalize success because I've also never had a 100 crore film, and I'm in a business where that is kind of definitive for a career of a producer.
Right.
And I've had very successful films.
Right.
They've been very successful in their own right. So for me, it was like, what are we chasing? Of
Right.
course, Lunchbox did that kind of numbers globally.
Right.
But I had to really, I think I went deep inside. As you go higher, you also have to go deeper. And it
Right.
was a conversation I had with myself on what is success. Because I think as women, or maybe as you keep going forward, hustling, owning the hustle, one thing after another, um, there also was an imposter syndrome. Do I know enough, or am I a fluke? एक बार हो गया success, दूसरी बार कैसे होगा? Because for us it is about making another film all over again. फिर से कुआं खोदो, फिर से पानी भरो, फिर से पैसे रेज करो, फिर से पैकेज करो, बनाओ, मार्केट करो, डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करो, bring it out there. So to do it so many times over and over again in movies, I feel like I just had to have that sit down conversation on, am I successful? Of course, awards happen,
Yeah.
and every Friday changes that success for us.
Correct.
So for me, success is my own inspiration.
Fabulous. And I remember being part of this very large conference, which was mostly women. And I think the one word that came up again and again was this imposter syndrome,
It's true.
which is, industry agnostic. I think women tend to sort of always ask themselves, was it me? Maybe it was good luck. Maybe it just happened. And the fact that we don't take credit, but
Yeah.
amazing. But tell me that one moment, like the first moment when you felt that, this was all worth it.
I think that was definitely Lunchbox, which was a decade ago.
Correct.
And that for me was like years of working, figuring out co-productions, figuring out international models, raising money around the world, innovating the process, innovating distribution, pretty much only one understanding, navigating. And when we did do global distribution on that film, I was very, very happy, but I didn't come back and be happy about it. Like that was a moment for sure,
Sure,
कि अच्छा
yeah.
हो गया. But उसके बाद the peer group conversation was कि it's a fluke. एक बार हो गया, दोबारा थोड़ा ना होगा. And then there was also a huge dive कि मतलब अब कैसे होगा, and वापस से वो सब कुछ कैसे होगा, and making a good film, तो ये तो, and then that good film credit is very well distributed to
Of course.
everyone
And
in the
mostly
mix.
people on the screen versus.
Yeah, which is it is definitely a performance based medium.
Yeah.
But there is so much decision making on how you finance an entity also decides the journey of it.
Sure.
So it is so many choices to take, and to not have a peer group that tells you कि अच्छा ऐसे भी कर सकते हैं, ये भी कर सकते हैं. You're constantly reading treaties, learning for the first time with your lawyers, understanding taxes. It's a lot to take in. But yes, Lunchbox did feel like अच्छा कुछ किया है.
This is a success, but not really seen the lows. That's not something that we very often talk about. I don't know if you're comfortable sharing those really 2 or 3 lows where you felt, okay, this is it. I can't go beyond this. Or this, this is it. I won't take the next step. Or I don't know how to go ahead from here.
I think for me, I feel I've restarted my life 3 times over from absolute minus, below, underground, not even like ground level, but underground. And just to come to the ground level was like, can we just celebrate this? So there have been 3 those very life defining incidents. One when I was 12 years old. I'm the only child of my parents, and we had to leave our family house because we were in a big joint family, and that was extremely, extremely toxic. Insane amount of violent nights, and that aggressive, crazy household.
Yeah.
And I was born in a very, very big house in a big property in GK2. And we had trucks of police that had to extract my parents and me out. I was 12 years old. And then we started our life in the outskirts of Delhi in Surajkund in identical apartments in a small, in a floor, in 4 apartments in one floor. So that day I was like, I had to buy a house for my parents. So I took back, I was 12.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you live with an impression of something is being taken away from you,
Yeah.
and people who are supposed to take care of you are, fighting for their own ground, or,
So fragile. They are themselves
everything is so
fragile.
fragile. So, and nobody's articulating it to you, and you have your own understanding of a very violent night that unfolds in front of you. So, that definitely left a very strong impression on me that I have to work to be able to make enough money to buy a house for my
Yeah.
parents. And I was able to buy a house by the time I was 22. I produced my first film at 21, moved to Bombay. I could not wait to finish school to start get working. So I was working through my college,
Yeah.
internships, assistant jobs, everything. I was 21 when I produced my first film, raised money from a neighbor, moved to Bombay, met people at food courts and be like, किसी के पास कहानी है, मेरे पास 50 lakh रुपए है. So it started from there, from ADs trying to introduce me to some directors. And at 22, I did a lot of service producing gigs that I worked for hire for other producers. I was able to buy a house. Both my dad and I came together to be able to buy a house back in GK, not in 2 GK1. But they both did not survive to live in it. So a year later, I lost both of them. And the house was built, and I was just like, what do we even do? So we put a lot of our success and to material, to a certain, a huge thing that happens in life,
Milestones.
to a milestone,
Yeah.
and for me, it was like, I don't want to do anything with property. It was like trauma. And
Yeah.
I don't want to own anything. I don't want to do anything. I just want to leave Delhi, move lock, stock, barrel to Bombay. And that was, I was 23. And for me, that was the second time to be like, okay, what do I have to do? And I again threw myself at work and took up a lot of jobs and came back to producing and ran a organization, and partnered with an incredible director, producer, and I started working with him, with Anurag Kashyap. And next 7 years built a outfit and a company, and one day that was decided to shape shift into something larger, where it was time for me to start something on my own and move away from the organization. And that was the third time, which I was like, okay, now where do I go? And this was pretty much during the time of Lunchbox, where I don't think I consciously wanted to start my own venture. That was safe space. But I'm grateful today, looking back, that I did manage to start Sikhya and build Sikhya ground up, make more movies, build a talent pool, build, but yes, those 3 moments in life of some sort of abandonment, some sort of things being taken away, some sort of dreams being not realized, have definitely, made me whoever I am. Those experiences defined my choices back then, and allow me to show up every day with my integrity and honesty and being grateful. But it is a process. Grief played a very large role on how to handle grief and yet show up with all the resilience and all the, to be able to take no's in a stride, to be able to take rejection one after another. It's and then to look within and have that faith that one day this will all come together, and this particular movie will get made, and that into 10x, 10 movies will get made.
Correct.
And I think whatever, post the Oscar, what happened in life was a lot of retrospective celebration happened. Because I don't think I got a moment to enjoy the success of previous movies or milestones.
Correct.
But post the Oscar, I think even in, press or peer group, There was like, oh, this is the same person who was part of Gangs of Wasseypur, who was part of Lunchbox, who was part of Masan. Okay, now let's celebrate. So,
Yeah.
you know, so it's never been instant gratification. It's been
Right.
over a period of time.
Yeah. No, but I remember meeting you when I first met you. That was the time when I think Masan had happened already. And that was that turning point.
Yes.
And I remember that you had quite a few films that were already ready.
Yes.
And you went through that journey. And I still remember looking at you then and saying, despite everything, this is a wonderful human being who has her heart
Yeah.
still in the right place. And I think that is such a, that to me, that really sort of said that, you know, life will treat you however it will. But if you've got that, then, you know, you at least have a way forward. You're like, okay, something good will happen if I
Yeah.
continue doing the right things.
Yeah, there's no shortcut to it. You have
Yeah.
to keep, like, the life deals you with a certain set of cards.
Correct.
Now, choosing what to play when is our choice and how to. So I don't think I've ever shied away from asking for help. You know, I have always there was a point in time when I had 5 unreleased films and a huge bank loan, an overdraft on a film that became sort of a very, very beautiful film, but it became very difficult to distribute it for political reasons, for reasons outside of ours. You know, the atmosphere around changes while you are building something, and then it's
Right.
just the piece of content becomes irrelevant fully. But here it is 3 years gone, so much money down. How do you, you know, save it, release it, market it, celebrate it against a lot of odds, find partners internationally, open new doors, go to film festivals, live there for 2 weeks before the festival, 1 week after the festival, literally couch surf to just be able to make enough contacts to be able to get perspective. That if we can't do it in India, where can we do it? This is particularly for a film called Tigers.
Yeah.
It was a lot to take in, but just constantly knocking enough doors made sure I found the door that opened for me. But it did mean knocking many, many doors. You know, I love sharing this story that when I turned 18, my dad's grand plan for me was कि बेटा तुम insurance agent बन जाओ. And he's like, अब तुम 18 साल के हो गए, इंश्योरेंस मैं बेच लूँगा to my friends, पर फिर तुम्हें ना recurring commission आएगा, you know, recurring कुछ पैसा आएगा. And he put me into a school for insurance, and my first official job was Tata AIG. I became an insurance agent and I had a visiting card, and I really thought that I've arrived. You know,
Right.
it's amazing for a 18-year-old to get a formal visiting card and an
A
entry
sense
in
of
a
identity, right?
building, and you know, you have like your
Yeah.
space and some really amazing stationery.
Yeah.
I was excited about that. But why I'm sharing this story is that in insurance, I studied the insurance course, gave the exam, became an agent. But what they teach you is, you know, 10 people will say no to you, and then one person is going to say yes. So for me, that switch happened that I started celebrating the no's, because I knew the 11th yes is coming, and that 11th yes will be the best kind of yes. It'll be the right fit that will, you know, make things happen in the best way. It will not
Right.
be a compromised yes. It will not be something that one is settling for or in absence of something. So I, over the years, internalized this in every situation, personally, in dating life, professionally, in fundraising life,
Correct.
project raising life. I'm like, जल्दी से मना कर दो, नहीं करना ना, no problem. जल्दी से मना कर दो, because then I will only try one more time, and then maybe that yes will come. So for me, it's about just trying enough times, and that's what one can really do. उतना ही आपके हाथ में है. So yeah.
That's so deep. Most of us learn this lesson when we've done this journey of entrepreneurship. At some point, much later, you say, okay, now I can celebrate the no's, right? But to learn that so early and really apply it is amazing, because I kept thinking that, you know, that your story of resilience is what every woman needs to know, because you know, while each human being goes through a journey of ups and downs, but I think for women, the giving up journey is faster.
Yeah.
Fabulous. I think just showing up every day and keeping your intent,
Yes.
integrity, and then allowing the universe to do. And I think where a lot of us probably fall off is when we tie it to milestones or result areas and say, "Acha, ye to aisa hona hi chahiye." And it doesn't. Life doesn't pan out like that, unfortunately. Where you've said, okay, plan A, this is the way it will go. There will always have to
And
be
it's actually amazing when something doesn't pan out for us to be able to step back and say, this is for my higher good. That this did not plan out in my way. I tried everything.
Yeah.
Well, when it doesn't, it is for my higher good. So I let it go. And if it comes back, if it's something, then, you just can't put your entire thing into, your entire life's work into one thing not working out or one thing working out.
working out.
It's everything, I feel like, in this extensive, gorgeous, beautiful, long life, it's a blip.
Yeah.
The awards are a blip, and the losses are a blip, and you move on and you create more.
Yeah. But the awards are here to stay.
Yeah, but yes, it's that, the graph that goes
Yeah.
goes on. It's one peak, many more peaks to go.
Yeah, but I think especially the Academy Award, that's here to stay for
Yeah,
for,
many
for
more.
us as a country and for so
Absolutely.
many, an inspiration to so many people out
Absolutely, I feel like I just got started.
Yeah.
To many, many more.
there. Fabulous. So I know you've said everything happens for the good, but if you just look back in hindsight, retrospectively, say you really had your financial journey worked out, your finances, your financial security worked out, do you think that journey would have been different?
Yes, absolutely. I feel like if I knew about SIPs early in life, if I knew about the business of compounding. In fact, you told me that in a live TV show many, many years ago. I was like, what is that? And you literally held my hand to teach me about and get me started into the world of, understanding the compound effect of putting some money aside month on month and whenever one can, the discipline of that.
Yeah.
But I don't think, as middle class family growing up in the household, that none of us knew. And I wish now, with internet, with so much information out there, and amazing work that Lakshmi and the whole team at Lakshmi is doing. Like I talk about it to my mother-in-law and father-in-law, because their world is like, बस जो पैसा कमाएंगे वो प्रॉपर्टी में डालेंगे, जो पैसा कमाएंगे वो प्रॉपर्टी में डालेंगे, तो एक और एसेट क्लास हो सकती है ऐसा. तो ये सब नहीं पता था. आई विश ये हमें बचपन से पता होता. आई विश ये हमें स्कूल कॉलेजेस में सिखाया जाए, बताया जाए on what to do, so that when you are 40 or 60, you are better planned for your life ahead. I had no idea. So
Yeah, so I remember that show that we were on.
Yeah.
It was a CNBC show.
I'm very grateful. You got me
So,
started.
I think things happen for the best.
Yeah.
That's a story for another time, but it's a lovely memory for me as
Yes.
well. Always fabulous. So I'm going to just, because you're in the art of storytelling, I want you to say this story in your words. Say if your bank account was a person, a genuine person, right? What would their journey with emotions be from the day, say, you turned 18, got your first job, to now? And I'd love for you to say it as a story. Like, there is this person, it could be Guneet,
Yeah.
that person, where the journey is what the bank account feels.
I
at
think
different
that
intervals.
I think that bank account would need a lot of therapy, because it would be constantly in anxiety. खत्म हो मर गए अरे फिर कुछ आ गया फिर घर बस गया, अरे फिर खर्चा चले गए. What are you doing? So I think that would need definitely therapy. Anxiety ridden bank account. It's been on the edge. It's always just been enough to sail through, and many times even not that, but somehow it's worked. So constant managing what one can afford, what one can do. But it's very interesting. जिस business में मैं हूँ और जो designation पर मैं हूँ, as a producer, you're expected to either have money or be born in a film family or something. So for me, it's been about raising money, film on film.
Correct.
So, and then that is your first green light, then making it, delivering it, marketing it, distributing it, then the money back, and then you see, your share back in, and then you hold that IP, and hopefully the second and third exploitations of the IP. So I'm in the business of long tail this thing. So for me, to make sense, I have to do many more projects, and or a project of scale. But
Right.
the scale doesn't come to you day one because the entry barrier is so tough. So I think it would be कि मतलब it's I don't think the bank account is any different than my own life, you know.
Yeah.
It's like बाहर जो भी हो रहा हो अंदर, मतलब अंदर you're just like ये दिन निकल जाए, कल देखते हैं, कल दोबारा से आएगा and we will be able to do that. There have been many days one has thought कि अच्छा अब तो दुकान बंद हो ही जाएगी, अब तो कंपनी बंद हो ही जाएगी, अब तो टीम चली जाएगी,
हाँ,
बट फिर
कुछ हो जाता
गली
है.
में ऐश्वर्या आती है और फिर प्यार हो जाता है
Fabulous. I
और
think
फिर
it's
हम गाना गाते हैं ओ ओ
no, so it's absolutely. I think it's also every startup founder listening to you will say, I relate to that. अब पैसे खत्म, अब
हाँ.
कब आएंगे पता नहीं,
हाँ.
end of the journey, फिर कुछ हो जाता है. So
हाँ.
it's, yeah. No, I remember our conversation where you said, that was the conversation on television where I think they asked all of us, what's your asset allocation? And Guneet said, yeah, I keep money in the bank to cover 6 months rent for where I stay.
Yeah.
And then we're like all, okay, you know, the host says, let's break. There's a break now for 5 minutes and then we'll come back. And
Yeah.
Guneet is quietly asking me, what is asset? What does asset mean? Like,
क्या-
what is
क्या-
asset class?
क्या होता है asset?
Yeah. That
They're
was the
asking
asset,
me
like,
gold. I said, what gold? रेंट के 6 महीने के पैसे बहुत बड़ी बात है वो.
बहुत बड़ी बात है. I remember that. So I think I'm so
Yeah.
glad that we
Yeah.
met that day. And, you know, and by the way, for everybody watching, Guneet is now an avid investor.
Yes.
She knows her investment. She knows her asset allocation. She does her disciplined SIP, and we're so super proud of her.
Yes, fully.
Okay, I'm going to come to a slightly more personal perspective.
जी.
So, Guneet, we live in a world where there's too much societal pressure. फिल्म्स बनाना कैसे, फिल्म्स कैसे बनाओगी, ये तो मतलब ये अलग वर्ल्ड है, अलग दुनिया है, या शादी कब करोगी, सेटल डाउन हो जाओ. You've broken all norms, right?
Yeah.
How did you cut that noise out? Was it by choice? Did it just happen? I know you, and I know some of it has been by choice, but it's very important for everybody tuning in to know, how do you follow your life's path without getting influenced by what the society is pressurizing you into?
You know, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, इतना कोई सॉर्टेड नहीं होता. वो प्रेशर के नीचे कहीं ना कहीं हम सब दबते हैं. मुझे बहुत बुरी तरह से लाइफ में शादी करनी थी. मैं बहुत रोई धोई हूँ उसी यूनिवर्स को और उसी भगवान को और उसी कि क्या ही होगा. Then to finally find somebody and get married at late 39, and to be able to celebrate it and be so grateful कि बहुत अच्छा सब मिला, and you know the families embraced my profession and they're very proud of it, and the fact that they are Delhi based, I'm Bombay based, and we're flying, and this relationship is making it work. But yes, there have been many days and nights of doubt of when will, you know, when will one find love, when will one find ki acceptance, you know, your ideas, thoughts, jo bhi tha. But it's one day at a time.
Yeah.
You know, it is one day at a time, and it is then again trying to turn that in your own head, and one day it works. There is no reason onto when, how. But जितना मैंने अपना दिल तोड़वाया है, जितने मैंने relationships कोशिश की हैं कि सबसे मैं शादी कर लूँ कोई मेरे से शादी कर ले, वो जितना लाइफ में डिले हुआ है, तो वो ऐसा नहीं था कि मेरी चॉइस है. मतलब लिटरली कोई मिला नहीं, एंड जब कोई मिला तब तक I was almost 40. So today I'm just like, okay, it's amazing, it's beautiful, and it's a lot of love and it's all of that. But I did miss it, and I did want it for a whole 2 decades, and I did really try to get married. वो तो हुआ नहीं. So I think definitely the society pressure is there. You do feel overwhelmed by it, and then life happens, you know. And for me, it's only been one day at a time. And some therapy that has helped कि ठीक है, मतलब एक दिन होगा, अच्छे से होगा. And today I have stood that test of time to be on the other side and say कि बहुत अच्छा हुआ है, I'm very very grateful, touch wood. But those nights and days of doubt and self-hatred and everything has been there. That I am not loved. You know, it's so hard for me to find love. You know, it's so hard for me to have a family that will celebrate me. But one day हो गया.
Fabulous and so beautiful.
Yeah.
And this reminds me of a journey on the journey of a woman who starts her investing journey into equities, goes through the same ups and downs, and then over the long term she says, okay, I've stood the test of time and now my money is giving me my returns, right?
Yes.
But I think, which is why I asked you later in life and not late in life, because do you think it's late? Like, there is a right time for everything, and
Yeah.
your right time may be different from my right time.
Absolutely. I don't think it's late. I just think it's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Emotionally, mentally, physically, one is able to take in the best way and celebrate it. So it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Interesting. Very. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And how did you first meet Sunny?
On a dating app.
Really?
So apps work. I literally put my producer hat on and I said, now I'm going to produce a husband. Okay. How will that happen? When I get out of the dating apps, this was my grand plan. I will get out of the dating apps because dating apps is all about let's figure it out. Let's meet, let's figure. I was sick of it. I was like, nahi karna mujhe figure. Mujhe shaadi karni hai. So I went and hired 5 marriage bureaus. And सबको जाकर पैसा दिया and सबको बोला कि they were planning to show me 3 profiles per week. So I basically had 15 profiles per week because there were 5 marriage bureaus, and all of them from basic understanding that they are at a marriage bureau also because they want to get married.
Right.
So it's not let's figure it out crop of people. So I only propelled myself to get into that space, and then as a joke, friends of mine in the second pandemic made a dating app per again. I was horribly against it. I thought that it is so stupid and it is all a joke. But then when the universe has to show its magic, as a joke, my profile was made, which was an anti-profile. What do you do? Nothing. ऐसा कुछ बकवास लिखा था कुछ, और उससे पहले मैं इतनी philosophical profiles लिखती थी, I want to be with somebody who wants to change the world. कुछ फ़र्क नहीं पड़ा उनसे. और फिर ये घटिया प्रोफाइल, do you take risks in life? My life is on the edge of a rock. ऐसे कुछ बकवास adventurous sentences लिख के. Sunny swiped on that, and my friends swiped on that, and pandemic got over and we got talking, and I was like, hi, this is a joke. Like, I'm not here. I have said yes to people through the bureau, and मैं शादी bureau के through ही करूँगी. But it was not meant to be. The people that I was talking to during the bureau time did not show up. Sunny showed up, and it so happened.
Fabulous. I think, again, it's the same story, right? Like, go in with the intent. If you want something to happen for you, you have to drive it with that intent, with that integrity.
Yeah, I was like, dear universe, now I'm going to go get married. I'm going to produce a husband. You figure it out who you don't want out of all of this.
Right. 3 tips for any woman who is navigating her career in the film industry.
So I would say to all the women navigating the industry, feel free to ask. Feel free to ask your questions freely. There is no harm in putting yourself out there and, even saying that. I love giving the example of Neena Gupta. She actually put out a tweet to ask, and I think work has stopped. So it's feel free to ask, feel free to reach out. Get over that thought of that imposter syndrome or I am not good enough. You're amazing. Just have that faith and reach out and ask, and you'll see magic happen. I would also say do your research, build a peer group, build a tribe, double down on that tribe. It's very, very important to have that team that you've grown with. And thirdly, I would say to show up to common spaces of events, theater, movies, festivals, skill development, knowledge building. It all goes a very long way. There are so many amazing workshops across even Mumbai Film Festival or even at IFFI Goa. I have actually built a whole career going to Film Bazaar in Goa, learning about co-productions. The reason I was able to build out a lunchbox was I learned it there. Attending any kind of skill development across scripting, producing, or even editing, or it's just so important. It all goes a long way, and you also make amazing contacts. So yes, building a tribe, showing up, and feel free to ask.
And now, 3 financial tips for any person, particularly a woman who starts her journey,
Yeah.
particularly in the film industry or any creative industry.
So, if you're in a creative industry, I feel it's important to have your own financial stability outside of the business that you are in, because we are not in jobs and we don't have monthly income. So, we have money coming in on a project, for services that are done. So, firstly, it's very good to have proper contracts and definitely, have time bound and have those time boundary questions, because we are in the business of freelance. And in terms of investing, I would say start as early as you can. Start SIPs with what you can. Like, if we have a switch in our brain and we are putting up money for rent, we can also put out 10,000, 20,000, as whatever amount, 5,000, 1 lakh, 5 lakhs, whatever that amount that works for somebody in the chain system of the business that you're in. Please do monthly investments as a discipline. It will only help you a decade, 2 decades, decades down the line. It will be something that will, you'll be very, very pleased to build that for yourself. I would say also understand about equity investing. Have somebody that you work with, or learn about it. It's very important to uh, we these are our peak of age of working, so being able to take that kind of risk with the equity market, it's only grown over the period of time. In fact, now, as my best friend in my circle, everybody's birthday we are gifting each other shares, even for kids' birthdays. And I've started that whole culture of gifting shares to kids, and rather than buying something for a 10 grand or a 5 grand, you're gifting shares, and everything adds up. So it's important to have that knowledge and also have your insurances in place. They come very, very handy. Medical insurance, a life insurance, an accident insurance. Like we do this for our cars, we do it for our products around, we should do it for ourselves. So this is some basic things which actually are not overwhelming, and they're not, it's just a matter of discipline and just having that switch that, okay, I need to put 10,000 rupees a month aside for an investment, and that's not a big ask. If I can do that for my rent, I can also do it for this. So yeah.
So, believe it, 7 years back, this was the girl who asked, what is asset?
Yeah.
What is asset class?
Yeah.
What a pro. Fabulous.
Yeah. Thank you.
Guneet, as professionals, I think it's important for us to give back to the society more by way of mentoring, powering women out there from our journeys, our learnings. And which is why we have invited a special guest to the show.
Oh, so cool.
So let's
Yeah.
go for it.
Yes.
Let's call Shweta.
Thank you for having me. Very excited. I've been following both your journey, and it's a pleasure to be here. In fact, I'm going to be slightly selfish here and hit on a few questions. You have built this amazing platform with Lakshmi, right? That helps women invest. It's like the school in itself. As somebody who would want to take on this entrepreneurial route, and finance being one, or rather the most important area, what is some 101 that you think is something that I should know of, or how do I get started with it?
So, great question, Shweta. I think this question I wish every young girl like you would ask, because I think, like Guneet mentioned, the earlier you start, the better it is. I think anybody who aims to be an entrepreneur needs to definitely get their personal finance in place, because when you set up anything new and you in your head visualize that you will instantly get money from that to feed you for whether it's your personal living expenses, your everyday expenses. But that doesn't always pan out, right? Sometimes it takes many, many years for you to really, for your business to give you the payout that can then be used for your personal expenses. So definitely have a personal finance plan which makes sure that all your personal expenses for a period of at least 3 to 4 years are taken care of. So then you're not stressed. Businesses take time. You're not stressed, oh, this business is not making money and therefore I should just stop this and start something else. This is where we see a lot of women fall off the entrepreneurial journey as well. So definitely build it. And in order to do that, I think just 5 things you need to do. Get yourself a health insurance, first of all. Make sure that you have a health insurance, because any medical emergency, then what happens is you dip into your savings and then pay it off. Get yourself a term insurance if you have dependents, for example, parents that are dependent on you or siblings that are dependent on you, that tomorrow if something happens, the liability is taken care of as well. The next thing you do is start creating an emergency fund for yourself. So start doing an SIP into an emergency fund and a retirement fund. And the fifth thing, if you want to do, especially as an entrepreneur, is to actually draw out a business plan. A lot of the times we go into a business only thinking that it will all be wonderful and will turn out exactly how it is. But putting that business plan on paper, doing scenario planning, there is an optimistic scenario.
Wow, you have in like less than 1 minute, you have laid out this whole roadmap for me. My next question is for you, Guneet. You have had this very inspiring journey, filled with big leaps, strong concepts, and movie as a genre is also something that potentially influences our society, our culture, right? So, as a woman of today, what would you, if hypothetically, if you had to make a movie around this whole women in leadership, finance literacy, explore a bit of that area, what would you pick, and what messaging would you like to pass on?
There are some fascinating stories around. In fact, we were just discussing about Chetna, this woman who actually built a bank in rural India. So her story is amazing. There are quite a few stories out there that can become a movie, and I hope one day.
Have you picked one that you would want to do ever?
No, actually, so far I've made films like Paglet, Kathal, which have had separate issues. I did co-produce a film called Surarari Potru, which was more entrepreneurial, and it was a Tamil story on on Captain Gopinath, who made Air Deccan. So that was my venture into entrepreneurial stories. But one day I will. We are talking about it a lot in our office.
Oh, I'm sure we'll, and people like me would look forward to that.
Yeah, it's a matter
Gurdeep,
of
I
time.
think we should make that together.
Okay.
A subject that is close to my heart.
Yes, let's.
And yes, let's
We have
do
a
that.
deal.
Yeah.
Great. My last question is, in fact, for both of you, because you come from this whole finance bit, you come from this movie, which is again very heavily male-dominated industry, right? And as often when if women are to be said as in a leadership role, it's often labeled as bossy, whereas men are expected to be in a leadership role, but it's again looked at a different lens. So, what would you say about it?
I actually love women who are assertive, and if that is further taken as bossy, I feel like it is the problem of the other person who's putting this label. It is not my problem. I've been, so focused on getting my work done that I actually shapeshift on whatever is needed to get the work done. You know, so I'm just like, हाँ, as long as काम हो रहा है ना, मतलब it is so focused on getting that. So I've actually not had that lens in my work that I am being put in a box, right? Because I've just been like, over the years I've learned to understand that that is the problem of the person looking at. Like sometimes people are like, oh, we can't take orders from you, their eyes are shifting, they're not looking at you. I actually reinforce and look straight back at them and I was like, सुनो मैं ये कह रही हूँ, आपको ना ये करना है, कर लोगे? reinforce हाँ, हो जाएगा. So it's more about reaching out, so not be like, oh, he's not looking at me, maybe he's not listening, maybe I should run away from. It's his problem, it's not my problem. So I get my work done.
Yeah, and then you also shifted your perspective to it. So you're not actually looking at it from the world lens. So I think that
No, I look at it from what is needed to be done at that point of time, and if there is discrimination that one can sense, and all these are these are soft skills, And it's great to have conversation about that, because we're not taught this. But if you're in a room where you feel discrimination for gender, for age, for color, for caste, for this thing, I actually get hyper focused on my work, and then I start building out, okay, so what are our to-dos? I'll send you an email on this. Will that be okay? So you just get hyper focused on what is the conversation we are trying to have, rather than being thrown off, by a certain discrimination that you're sensing. Because nothing is so black and white and clear. I've been in rooms where I felt discriminated, and I've actually used that moment to just be like, I will, put this on an email, and I hope to hear from you. Is there somebody from your team I should be in touch with? So more like whatever is needed at that point, to be clear about, at the end of the day, this is my work, and I need to get to the next step of this. So, yeah.
So I think I've learned in my journey to put like deflectors around me for public opinion, people's opinion. Because I think for any journey that we do as women, there will always be, like they say ना, कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे, लोगों का काम है कहना, but हमारा काम थोड़ी है सुनना. So just, deflect any opinion that comes towards you. I think Guneet very beautifully said it, that if you have your intent and your integrity and your heart in the right place, and your result areas you're focused on and saying, okay, this is what I'm working on, everything else is, immaterial. Keeping that in mind, but also wearing, I always say that being a woman is not a load on your shoulders. It's a crown that you should wear, because women make for great work partners. They make for great leaders, because they bring in empathy, which makes just things happen so much better, right? So use that to your power. Every time I tell women that when you're walking into a room, leave the gender at the door when it comes to anything negative, but wear it as a crown in the power that it brings to you. What can it bring to you? What can it bring to the table? What can it bring to all stakeholders, not just to me? And I found that very powerful. So always keep that in mind, because there is still a journey for us to do from where we are today. A lot is changing, and thankfully it is. But from where we are today to a time when we will live in a society where, especially at workplaces, gender will become immaterial in terms of, putting people in a box or categorizing them, etc. But till then, we have to do that journey, and we have to be role models for a lot of women around us. So hold your head high, wear that crown, put that deflector. आप जो बोल रहे हो मुझे कुछ सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and I'm doing it with good faith, good intent, the right way, and that should be all.
Yeah, I love that perspective. I think, in fact, the whole bit that you said about intent together, I think it's just very powerful to know and realize that.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Shweta.
Thank you, Shweta.
And thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you, Guneet. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
And while we always, chat, catch
Yeah,
up,
of course.
this has been
This is
special
nice.
because it's been
Thank
on
you.
camera. So,
Thank you. And
thank you.
So nice to meet you.
Thank you, Shweta. Thank you for
It was
joining
lovely
us.
being
It
here.
was a pleasure. So I would kill to be in the lunchbox, said the elephant's whisperer. Yes, that's a wrap for today's episode of the Rich Recipes podcast. I hope Guneet Monga's incredible journey has inspired you to take charge of your financial future. Remember, every step you take towards understanding and managing your life and money is a step towards empowerment. Don't forget to download the Lakshmi app to start building your financial independence today. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next episode.